Hey everybody, it's May 11, 2022. I'm at Searight Disc Golf Park in Austin, Texas. There are no pictures on the scorecard. Hey everybody, welcome back to No Pictures on the Scorecard. Today we're at Searight Disc Golf Course in Austin, Texas. This is the first hole. It's a par 3. The basket sits behind these trees that you either have to play around or above. And so I'm basically taking my stable driver here and just going to try to play around the left side of these trees. I actually make a pretty good throw here. I'm happy with the throw right up until it hits those branches right there and knocks it down and leaves me with a weird little upshot. So I got a little unlucky on that throw. I hit this tree that I'm actually standing behind or in front of right now. Got about 150 feet to the basket. Probably just going to throw a putter up there, get close, try to make par. Pretty stock shot here. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm just taking my gauntlet, my stable putter, and just trying to put it somewhere relatively close to the basket for a drop-in par. So it did skip away a little bit on me. I had a little longer par putt than what I would have liked here, but I managed to skip it over the edge of the cage and in and make my par and move on. So the second hole out here at Searight's a straightaway par 4. It's or par 3 rather. Doesn't set up super well for a forehand like what I throw, but I can usually try to fit one in here, and par is usually about the best score I can make on this hole. I haven't really gotten close to this hole ever to have a real look at birdie, but I'm still working out the line on this, so hopefully I can figure it out. This is the second hole at Searight. It's 282 feet straight away. The basket sits down here in this tunnel. For me, it's just a simple forehand anhyzer with this understable Hades, and this is a really good throw. I'm very happy with this throw. So really good throw there with a Hades that I actually managed to get up here. I haven't been close to this hole really. I had a real good look at birdie before, but I like that throw, and I like my chances of making a birdie for the first time on this hole. So I've got this circle 1 putt for birdie on a hole I've never birdied before. Who wants to lay the odds that I make it? Don't even draw a medal. I say this a lot, but my circle 1 putting is pretty bad. I really do need to get out and work on it. This one's from about 17 feet, and somehow I managed to make it and save my par. It's a disappointing par. That should be a birdie, and I'm not happy right now. I'd probably put this as one of the harder holes at Searight. Really, if you can get off the tee, you have a chance at making a birdie, I suppose. I've never come close, but I've made plenty of pars on this hole, and usually par is a good score. Like I said in the hole preview, the trick on this hole is to get off the tee. You want to press as far forward as you can, straight as you can, as long as you can, and then get the disc to move to the right. And I actually threw a really good shot here on my forehand. I'm pretty happy with that. So you can see the basket there in the distance. I've kind of put myself in a weird spot. My disc is right there, kind of behind these trees. But here's where playing a forehand has an advantage. I can throw a forehand between those two trees and get it to go up toward the basket. I'm really just trying to make par on this hole. This is not a birdie hole for me. I definitely had the right idea on this throw, and I give it a good throw, but it just catches a little twig or stick sticking off one of these trees and it sends it off to the right. I've always said there's nothing wrong with getting into trouble when you're learning a game like golf or disc golf, because when you get into trouble a lot, you learn how to get out of trouble a lot. And this is me getting out of trouble. I'm pretty proud of this throw. I probably could have thrown it just a touch harder to give myself a little shorter look at par, but it's a pretty good throw. If you have young children watching, now might be a good time to cover their eyes. This is not pretty. So played a really good third shot on that hole. Just couldn't save the par from the circle's edge. Yeah, I definitely probably need to do some more putting. But I'm only one up, and I've bogeyed a hole that I bogey a lot, and there are some birdie holes coming up. So hopefully I can get that right back. I apologize for the bad camera angle here. This hole doesn't set up well for camera viewing. Basically just a short little par 3 here. You're trying to throw something relatively stable. I'm throwing a mid-range here, and I make a good throw. I actually have a look at birdie. You'd probably have to imagine how happy I am to have another 30-foot putt for birdie, because I'm so clutch where these are concerned. Let's see if I can make this one. The answer is no. I cannot make it. But I take the par. So this is the 5th hole at Searight, and it's kind of a sharp dogleg right. It's not a long hole. I'm going to throw a mid-range just because then I don't have to put so much power on it like a putter I would have to, and plus if I put a lot of power on a putter, it tends to flip up on me. I mean, I have a stable putter, but I don't like to have to throw it that hard. So I'm just going to go with a very stable mid-range and see if I can't put this up there and get a birdie. The trick on this hole is just to throw something super stable and make it crash down around the basket. It's not a tricky hole. Don't overthink it. I could have thrown that tee shot a little harder, but I will take this short little birdie putt. And right here I'm feeling pretty confident I'm going to make it. And I actually do. How about that? Okay, coming off a really good birdie on the last hole. I'm even through 5. This is just a straightaway shot. You can see the basket right down there, and the idea is to kind of keep it under these tree limbs and just keep it down the tunnel. So I'm just going to throw one of my throw putters and see if I can't park it up there somewhere close. So I'm taking my most overstable putter here, and I'm hoping to get it to flip up a little bit, but I pull it a little too much to the right, and I ended up kind of going toward the woods. Not a great throw. So I flipped that shot up a little too much, but I did get a little kick off a tree. Not sure it slid down there far enough to have a real look at birdie, but I should be inside circle 2 and can take a shot at it. There's no real trouble around this basket, so should be able to take a shot at this and try to make the bird. So I ended up outside the circle here. I've got about 33 feet. It's a little downhill. I made a nice putt on the last hole, so I'm fairly confident that I can at least draw metal here. And because I'm confident of that, I absolutely don't do it, of course, and the disc runs away on me. So I've got this 18-foot comebacker, kind of sort of up a hill a little bit, and man, I wasn't expecting to miss that. I thought I was going to make that. It bounced off the top of the cage, off the rim of the cage, and left me about 10 feet, a basic little tap in for a bogey. That was a disappointing bogey. I threw a decent tee shot and should have easily made par, but first putt got away from me, and then I couldn't drain the second one from about 18 feet. So yeah, I definitely need to work on my putting. I can see that. Like in regular golf, ball golf, putting is key. So I might have to spend some time working on that. But I'm still only 1 over through 6. It isn't terrible. It's not as good as I've ever played, but it's not terrible. And I've got a couple birdie holes coming up here. So the 7th hole out here is a little par 3 of 249. The basket sits right in here behind these trees. You want to just take a stable disc and throw it out around for a hyzer, and I don't do that. That's not very good. So as you can see, for this second shot, I've got to go basically through a labyrinth of trees. I have no real direct line at the basket, so I'm just playing for par here. I'm going to lob this up there and get it to slide up to about 6 feet. Not a bad shot. So the 8th here at Searight, it's straight away, but it plays as, well, if you're a righty, you'd have to throw some kind of, if you're a righty backhand player, that is, you should probably have to play some kind of anhyzer, I guess. I don't throw a lot of backhand, so I don't know. Maybe you could take one really powerfully up this gap and let it slide up to the basket. What I do, though, is I play a forehand on a little flex line, let it come left, and then scooch up to the basket on the right. And I tend to get some looks at birdie when I do that. This is a short hole, but it's kind of tricky. The basket sits right there. You can just see the band in there under that tree. So you have to try to get one to slide up there. This is an okay throw, but not terrific. So I forgot to record my second and third throws on this hole. I had a 41-foot look at birdie that I missed, and just a drop in for par. But this is probably a good time for Alright, so this is one of the harder holes at Searight. It's a par 3. You can see the basket there in the distance, but it's a kind of a very subtle double dogleg. Get doglegs left off the tee, and then you got to come back right. Kind of sets up pretty good for my play of a forehand on a right-hand forehand. So I really just kind of try to throw the disc as hard as I can. I've only parred this hole maybe once. I've never birdied it. Maybe one of these days, though, I'll get one on camera for you. So this is about as good a drive as I can hope for on this hole. I'll have to shoot and find out how far out I am, but should be a pretty easy up and down for par. This is just a basic backhand or a basic forehand, whatever I feel like throwing. So let me have a look at this, get a distance, and see what we have. So I ended up 144 feet from the basket, just off the right side of the fairway here. I'm throwing a putter, a stable putter. I probably should have thrown it a touch harder. It wasn't terrible, but could have thrown it harder. Okay. So I'm 2 up through 9. I'm not playing particularly well. Just missing a few putts. I've had a 3 putt back there on 6, and I should have made this putt on 9. This par putt I had on 9. So it's really about the putting. I'm definitely going to get out there and practice a little putting at some point soon. But I'm hopeful I can pull it together on this back 9 and do something good. Well, guys, that's the front 9 of Searight Disc Golf Course. I'm 2 over. Hopefully I can turn things around on the back 9 and bring in a good score. Hey, if you like what you watch, make sure you subscribe and give me a like. It really helps out the channel. I'm Todd. This is No Pictures on the Scorecard.